Happy Wednesday, Valerie Hunt, RunRx, Ask Me Anything. Today's big question I've got is about shin splints and how to get rid of them. And also another injury, there's two injury related questions I had today. So one was, I've got shin splints, what do I do? And then the other one was like, I have plantar fasciitis, what do I do? So I just wanted to let you know that the fun part about RunRx is one, I can do my practice, my skill practice, while I'm still injured because I have so many variations and you can do practice standing still. And the second thing is that the reality of fixing your injuries or correcting your injuries, if you will, what we want to do is not just help you to feel better, but to help you prevent it from coming back. That's my main thing. And you know, I always tell people, my background is not running. I got into running after I was already in fitness. So what that means is I started in group fitness, got a job at Gold's, was teaching aerobics all through college, started in high school, and then I started going outside to start running and doing these things. And after, you know, I could teach 15 hours of fitness a week of cardio classes, and then I tried to run and my shins hurt. I had this pain back here in my hamstring, and I was like, what is up, right? And so went to the running shoe store because everyone's like, I think you're wearing the wrong shoes. Definitely was wearing the wrong shoes. Went to the running shoe store, and that's the first thing they said is you need new shoes. And you get so excited, right? Or I did. I was like, oh good, woo, because I want to go running. I don't want to hurt. So I put the new shoes on, went out for my run, same pain. Went back to the shoe store, and I was like, hey, I'm still having the pain, and they were like, oh, well, here's some more shoes and keep running. Because the reality is back then, and I started running 31 years ago, like not just recreational running, but like signing up for races and doing the runs. 31 years ago is when I started running, and the answer was do more running. Because everyone's like, well, you're just not used to running. You do different exercises. So now that you're running, you're using different muscles, there's different movements. So now you have to adapt and adjust to new movements, right? Which actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm a kinesiology major, or I was then, I graduated, but I was at UT Austin studying kinesiology, which is the exercise science. It's studying movement. So I was taking anatomy, physiology, exercise phys, doing all of the data testing, VO2 max, body fat, heart rate, you name it. We were not discussing movement and being more efficient in our movement. So when people were getting hurt, we're like, well, just move more. And if you keep moving more, you'll move better, right? Or get new shoes, or do this stretch, right? It's so much around the movement, but not actually talking about how to do the movement. So that's kind of where I separated myself. I'm a brand new runner, and I'm a heel striker. So I have sore shins. What's the best way to get rid of this bad habit? Hola, ¿cómo está? Got some Spanish speakers. I have a poquito español. Okay, so that's my point. I'm not going to tell you to buy new shoes. Here's what I'm going to talk about. So let's talk about shin splints for just a second, and plantar fasciitis both. So I have this little step here, and I just want to use it for just effect for just a second. Let's say I'd never met you, and we were about to go up a flight of stairs, and here I get to this curve, and I'm like, oh, a curve, and I went like this. Wow, you'd be like, wow, she's really excited about that curve. Or what if we got to the curve and I did this? Which one sounds better? Hopefully the second one where you could barely hear my feet. Running injuries come from two things. Number one, for all of the injuries, number one is spending too much time on the ground. So that's number one. And number two is intent of movement. So the fun part is we're going to correct both with one practice, okay? So if I'm always thinking about, first of all, I should sound lighter, right? So that's even just the thought of that is going to help me with my movement, not just in running, but in any movement of thinking light. How do we get lighter in our movement? How do we unweigh ourselves? That's the question in running. How can I be lighter? So if I'm a heel striker, for example, or and you knew that, like you were able to say to me, I know that I do that. So the best way to start a new habit is, instead of trying to lose a habit, we just create a new one, right? That's honestly the best way to do it. So instead of thinking, I'm not going to heel strike, I'm not going to heel strike, because guess what? All you're going to do is heel strike. I want you guys to think, just when I'm standing here, how can I stand even better, right? Do you stand slumped over? Do you hunch? Or do you stand in a nice line? So that's number one, because we're not new to standing, right? We're new to running, or we're changing our running. So first is, how do I prepare myself to run? Because I'm going to be holding this the whole run. From your hip to your head, never moves. The whole run. You got to hold it the whole time. Just the way it goes. So holding this line is very important just to practice in itself. Second, I have to pretend, let me put this back for just a second. I have to pretend that this curb is always in front of me. Mindset. This is just a preparation for running. Because running itself is free falling. Isn't that cool? So running itself is allowing your body to free fall through space, right? That is actually what running really is. And all of us can free fall. That's what's so cool, right? The skill is there for you to play with, but the reality is all of us can actually do that. So that's number one. So to understand that that's a key component of running. The action in running is called pulling. We take our foot and we pick it up. I'm pulling all the way to pose because this is the running pose. So really running is about, when I'm pulling my foot, I recover the running pose. When I'm in my running pose is when I have the ability to free fall and pull my foot. And then I recover the same running pose, okay? So running is a series of the same repeated gait cycle: pose, fall, pull. As I get more skill in my fall, the fall continues. The fall continues because gravity's always here. So running is a succession of holding my fall and pulling my foot to keep up with my falling body. Isn't that cool? So your body is falling. Whee! And you pull your foot to keep up. Higher angle of fall is going to increase my speed. Why? Because my body's falling further forward, so I'm going to have to pull quicker to keep up. That's what speed is. Speed is my center of mass is forward. I have to pull my feet really quick to keep up. But remember, the foot only goes one direction, up. So the challenge we have, say I have shin splints. If your body starts to fall forward and you put your foot out, let me put my stuff here. If I'm going to run, so I go to run forward, and I'm going to run and kick my foot out. It's like kicking a curb. You're literally stopping yourself. And look at where my shoulders are. Way back here. And of course, this foot's like this. This is what you look like when you have a heel strike. I'm just using that to help hold my foot up. So your foot's actually here. Your back foot's like here. And it's not a comfortable place for your body. So your body will never stay there. So what happens is, if I kick out, so you just did that good old heel strike, and I get here, I can't balance like this. And the momentum, my body's still going forward. So your foot's going to go 1, 2. Everybody. That's the challenge. Now, what you have to do to change that is not think, I'm going to heel strike, I'm going to heel strike. You have to think, I have one job, and that is simply to pull my foot up from the ground. So you practice the action of pulling. In place, not going anywhere. You've got to practice, I'm going to be holding this line, and I've got to do this. That's my job, okay? So, and by the way, this practice you can find for free on my YouTube channel, RunRx. And what we do with RunRx is we help you. We want you to run pain-free. There's no gimmicks. There's no hidden anything. This is it. The challenge is, first you have to open your mind to understand that running is really this. That's a challenge in itself, because what do I want to do when I run? I want to be like this. right? With my feet out and the wind blowing and all of that stuff that we see in the pictures. And that's, guys, why you heel straight. Just so you know, that's the only reason you heel straight, is because in your mind you think that if I do this, I'm going to travel. But if your leg is ahead of your body, you can't travel. You're stuck. You see? Stuck. My body was here. Woo! You can keep traveling. It's more important where the body is. That's the important thing. Your foot, you pull it and gravity puts it back down, not you. You do nothing but pull. If you allow your body to fall, your foot will pull. It is a natural response, by the way. This is the coolest part, because if I allow my body to move naturally, it will naturally move as it should. It's a really cool symbiotic relationship. You're just reconnecting with what running is. Your body already knows how to fall. Your hamstring knows how to pull. So it's like, woohoo, it's going back to what it likes to do. So if I have shin splints, instead of thinking I need to get rid of how I strike the ground, you need to not strike the ground at all, because you are only going to practice the correct action. That's what's going to correct the movement, and that's what will put your body back in the right spot to prevent the recurrence of the shin splint and to help you heal from it. Do you guys know that the healing process is through movement? Your body heals through movement and correct movement. So if I'm always working on the correct movement, my tissues recover, my joints recover, my muscles recover, my tendons recover. And as they recover, they also get stronger. Why? Because you are strengthening the correct position. So if I'm always putting myself in, this is my running pose. Well, just when I stand here, my foot's getting stronger, my ankle's getting stronger, my hips are getting stronger, my back. You understand the whole system as a unit. If I start to think of my body as a unit rather than in parts, I'm going to enjoy my run more, because what is running? Woo! It's free falling. The whole body's falling. You're pulling just the foot, because that's the only place you can feel the ground. Don't look for the ground. You're already on it. There's the ground. It's there. I don't want to be on the ground. As soon as I feel the ground, I want to get my foot up from the ground. So your shin splints will go away simply because you're going to stop doing this movement. Will it be in one day? No, you got to practice. But that's the fun. By the way, if you are new to running, our reboot on YouTube is a 30-day. It's great. Skill, strength, and self-care. Prepares your body for running. So it's a great way to get into running. Develops your cardio system, your strength, your ability to run. I promise it's a lot of fun to go through. Then let me go into plantar fasciitis. It's usually the one or the other, right? So the plantar fasciitis is right the underside of the foot. If you have pain in the calf, heel, or anything underneath the foot, that's usually considered plantar. If you have pain in the front foot, up under the knee, that's the shin usually. And again, the shin is coming from you extending, and it causes I call it a two-part landing. It's a kick, flap, kick, slap, kick, slap. This is what you continue doing every time you put that foot out. So it's tiring when your foot could just do this. Reduces impact by 50% using elasticity. All right, so what's plantar fasciitis all about? Plantar fasciitis is generally from people doing this. It's called push-off. By the way, most people do both. You might be pushing and reaching. So, get rid of both and enjoy your running, right? So push is this. So the thought is, if I push, it's kind of that same thought. I'm going to push and extend my body, right? It's like I'm pushing to go forward. That's the thought. I mean, it sounds right, but the problem is I didn't really go anywhere. I pushed, and what? My leg went which way? Backwards. I just told my leg to go backwards while my body goes forward. So then all of a sudden my body's like, okay. And then what do I do with this guy? He's stuck way back here. And I took all of my body weight, by the way. So when you do that, you're literally putting like excessive force on that poor calf and saying, okay, push my whole body, go, push. And then what? It's like, okay. And then it's stuck back here. And guess what? This is the bummer. If I'm here like this on the ground, where's my shoulders now? They're ahead of my hips, right? Now I've got, by the way, 10 times 30 pounds of weight on my lower back. Did you know that? It's like your head is 30 pounds. When it's forward like this, it's like 10 times. Now my back is holding it. You understand what you're doing to your body, unfortunately. Because why? When you run, if your knee was bent and you pulled, hey, look at that, back in my line, right? So again, it's not about let's not do, it's only about what we should do. We should bend our knees always. We want to be a spring. You want to be an S-like shape. So the knee is bent, I'm a spring, see? I can hop. This is important because I want to develop elasticity. And the elasticity I develop when I stand here and hop, then when I run, that spring is my forward. Isn't that cool? Because you're falling, so your foot's still pulling. But the travel, that spring that's here, when you go forward, it springs you forward. So plantar fasciitis, unfortunately, is from instead of trying to spring, you're trying to jump. So jumping is great. There's nothing wrong with jumping. However, in running, jumping makes no sense because if I'm jumping, I'm trying to go up, but I really want to go forward. So my body's a little bit confused, you see? Because jumping is meant to take us up, to go somewhere, like jump to get the basket or jump to grab the ball or whatever you're jumping to do. So if you're trying to run forward, you're telling your body to jump, it's very hard on that poor calf. By the way, just for funsies, when you do fall and pull, when you do nothing, if you literally just let your body fall and you pull, you see, the natural response of your body is to use its own elasticity and hamstring response to pull. You actually only need to use 10% active muscle when you run. Isn't that fun? I had no idea. I didn't know that either. This is the stuff that's so nice that once you start to realize the efficiency of movement, so a lot of people get really put off with the thought of learning to run. And I just saw this yesterday, so I'll finish with this. This article, and it said, you should run however you want. Everybody has their own unique way of running. However, here's what you should do to not get injured. And then they went on to list about 6 things. But wait a minute, I thought I was supposed to run how I want. I thought it was supposed to be natural, right? So people say to me all the time, learning to run just sounds so counterintuitive. And I said, yes, except that challenges, it's about developing and creating efficiency in your movement. And most of us didn't grow up spending hours and hours and hours a day running. So no, that's not natural for us. You guys are probably pretty good at sitting, right? We do a lot of this. So just to keep in mind that what you're learning, it's not that running's not natural. Running's the most natural thing in the world. We want you to reconnect with what is running. And running is about using gravity, which is the most natural thing in the world. So like I said, I have no gimmicks. And we didn't say we made up running. I tell people that, because I coach pose method, and they used to say that. Y'all didn't invent running. You're right. Running is how we got here, right? But we are helping you reconnect, honestly, with what running is. Because unfortunately, right now in the community, running is only about external factors. All I hear about is stride, foot stride, heart rate, vertical oscillation. Like you can get on your Garmin and get all this data. People are like, run at this heart rate. What does that even mean? You don't even know my heart rate. And I'm telling you, run with your heart. Run with your body, with your whole self. Connect to what running is. Running is using gravity to free fall. One last thing. I got this step for $5. I'm bringing back the step aerobics. Just kidding, I'm not. But I want to show you guys, whether you have Shin Splints, plantar fasciitis, stretching is absolutely beneficial and helpful. Yes. So please never think I don't think so. I love stretching. My calves need it. I stretch all the time. It's stretching, it's dynamic flexibility. So I don't just stretch, right? This would be just stretch, which is great. Then I'm going to take it to the next level, and I'm going to put my feet like this, and I'm going to bend, and I'm going to start getting into my soleus and my plantar, because my toes being up gets the plantar, the knee bend gets the soleus, and you see how I'm moving? It's called dynamic flexibility. Because why? When I run, I'm not staying still. I'm moving. I want my body to get very comfortable, because this is, when you're on the ground, the body weight's on the ball of the foot. There's nothing in the toes. So, and then I hold. See? So it's dynamic and then hold. And all you need is a curve. You don't need to go get this, right? So those are two very, very, very simple exercises. And then my favorite for shins is just to sit on my feet. This is just for shins, and then you can make it harder, you can lift, you can do whatever. But by the way, and if I cannot do this today, put a pillow under your glutes. Try putting a pillow and see if you can sit back. But this should be pretty comfortable. This should be comfortable. This should be comfortable. So make sure you're working on your hip mobility, your ankle mobility. Ankle circles are real simple, right? Again, all of these exercises are on the RunRx Reboot. Highly suggest it. So I've got skill, strength, and self-care. And it's a lot of fun just to think about running in a different way, right? So go through the practice. It's a lot of fun. I love hearing from you guys. Please keep reaching out with questions. And if you really want to take it to that next level, then come into the membership. 12 weeks of coaching. It's amazing. You get gait analysis. You get weekly check-ins. I focus on you. I get to watch you move. We do group Zooms, which are a lot of fun, so I can actually get to work with you and watch you live. And honestly, guys, it's amazing. It's probably the best investment you can make. Like before you buy your next pair of new shoes, you should invest in yourself and your run. All right, guys, I hope to see you next week. Send me some questions. I'd love to hear if you try these drills. Let me know how they go. Thank you.